offices.
So what I also, because techinasia.com, which I'm part, we actually are in 16 countries. So it is very, we are also a startup. What we've seen is actually defining the processes is very important. So you can replicate it across markets then. Start with a local geography. Like Uber started in one city and then they crack the template there, and then you can actually replicate that template across the countries very easily. So that's how the model is followed, and it is easier to replicate than once you crack the template.
I'll just make it in one line that, if you want to sell, if you're a very small startup with a good product, what a big startup is looking for is the guy, the person, the founder behind it. So, because he knows he has the right mind, and getting this guy with his mind into a larger system would make all the difference, help scalability. But if you're a large startup, then your idea and the number of customers and users that you really have is what matters. So office, I don't think is any consideration in the whole thing.
Last 2-3 questions.
Sure. So I have a question for all the people here who understand content very well, Harsimran, including you as well, right? So, while obviously you could, starting a content venture is easy, right? I mean, you could sort of build a website very, very quickly, start writing content, good quality content. Whether Tech in Asia or the Entrepreneur magazine, and I'm sure Amrish, you could also sort of share some thoughts here. How do you, or at what stage do you sort of really reach out to an investor, to say that, okay, cool, now I'm ready to at least raise my first small round. I don't need a lot of money. I'm a content venture, right? So what is that stage? And I'm sure, it's not about, as you rightly said, it's not about 1 million likes on Facebook or your Google Analytics traffic. I mean, what has content evolved to today? So when do I reach to an investor and say, okay, cool, I'm ready now, and what would he see? I'm sure not my Facebook like. So what is it then?
So you want to take?
So, I mean, while we're not funded as a media or a content company, but I would think definitely it would be the community, and the community that they think can be influenced in any way. So for that, the media company, the most critical part is the community. And because if you have a community, you'll anyway get an advertiser, and which means that your revenue will start churning much faster. And that is what an investor would be interested in. So I guess for you having and I mean, again, not just likes, people who regularly read what content that you produce, people comment on the content that you produce, all that is really important.
Like we can tell. So we are a funded startup, and SoftBank has funded us, and Eduardo Saver in Facebook's. So for content startup, actually, you rightly said you don't need actually much money to start. You can start with 1%, 2%, but it is very important to crack the template and community of that local region which you are actually catering to. Once you've cracked that template, then actually you can, you are ready to actually go global or in other cities, other countries, other locations. Then you need the money. You don't need the money in the first go. So once you are ready, then you need the money, and people are actually willing to invest when you're creating those kind of communities, because sometimes it is a strategic investment for a lot of investors. Sometimes it is, you can actually, like VC Circle got exited, as you very well know, by Rupert Murdoch, News Corp. So there is money to be made in this sector. So it just, once you've cracked the template, you have to create that community which actually follows you on a daily basis. Yeah.
I want to add, let me take this question. I think this is a very good question. A little bit more in general sense, like in general, when you should go for various kind of money to startup, like what are the different stages of a startup which might be applicable to a lot of people who are doing startups here. I think you can look at it in a very, very structured way. There are various stages of a company. There's an idea stage where you kind of just come up with an idea that you want to go and solve this problem. And the next stage is a seed stage, which is when you have a team of kind of two or at least let's say 2 or 3 people who kind of have come together, and then at least a team has been formed, and then they want to go and execute this idea right themselves. And then there is a angel stage, what I call prototype stage, where you have a prototype ready, right, which you have started experimenting with kind of people. And then post angel stage, I would say, a series A stage, where you have taken that prototype and kind of gone and spoken with real customers and given them kind of real product, and then they have iterated with you on that particular product. And that is where there is a term called product market fit. Many of you guys probably have heard of it. product market fit is when you have taken the product out in the market and given to real customers and they are loving it. They're not just saying it's good, they're loving it in the sense that, even in spite of it being a little bit of broken product, they are loving to use it, right? So that is where the product market fit is established, and then go and raise Series A. And then once the Series A is raised, typically the expectation is that you're going to take this money and then this 20 customer become 20,000 customers in the next 2 years. Or 2,000 customers, like depending on like what enterprise or consumer. And you go and start executing your sales and marketing. And then you go to Series B, and then post Series B, people start looking at profitability, right, of the venture, because ultimately every business has to make money. So there are various stages, and these are very fixed stages, right? You should be aware of, there is a book called Lean Startup. I think you should read. It's a good book which can talk about many of these things in detail. But there's pretty structured process and pretty structured stages and very set expectations various investors have at various stages. And every time you're on stage X, you should be working toward X plus 1, because that's how you're going to be evaluated in next 9 months or 1 year kind of time period. If you're on team stage, then you should for prototype. If your prototype is stage, then you should be looking at a product market fit. If it is product market fit stage, then you should be looking to get initial beta customer traction. If your beta customer stage, then you should be looking to scaling your sales and marketing so that you have larger number of customers. If you have larger number of customers, then you should be looking at profitability or unit economics of your customers. And then once that is figured out, then you should be looking at a pre-IPO round. And then of course, then IPO and life is hell. But these are the different stages that you go through. Very set, you can research it. And if you follow that, at every stage, you can align stakeholders with you, and life will be somewhat less difficult than otherwise.
Okay, last.
I will add here in Mr. Gupta's thing. In various stages, you need to take care of your valuations also, because we have invested in around 24, 25 companies. Now the problem is going into second stage and third stage funding. If your valuations you are fussy about your valuations, then it will be a big challenge to go for second round of funding and third round of funding. So you need to be realistic with your valuations.
Okay. Someone had a question? Yeah, you can ask.
So just basically it's questions to Amrish. Like everybody always prefer to go for bootstrap, and bootstrap they have a limited capital. What I see that, especially in terms of hiring, I want to know your experience. How did you hire your first employee when there was no funding with you? Because initially we are struggling at that. Everybody is money-minded. We are trying to get some good people in the startup, and everybody is asking for millions exactly to be our first employee. They always want big package, big fat package and salary and all that. So how to attract the employees to join a startup? What's your...
So do people join startups for the money, or is it the idea, or is it passion? And also a lot of people told me कि भाई अगर startup के लिए hiring कर रहे हो तो अपने office में मत करो, क्योंकि कई बार एक कमरे से office शुरू होता है और भी maybe कहीं गली में होता है, तो कई लोग join ही नहीं करते वो देख के. So आपने कैसे अपनी first hiring?
No, I think I'll be a little provocative here. I think if anybody is joining you because of the office, right, it's a wrong hire. The good people join you when you don't have the money, right? And I think, and it's difficult, it's not easy, right? And that is where you start really acting like a founder, where you are going and convincing people. If you cannot convince a potential hire to come and join you at 30% pay cut, right, and 2% or 3% of the company as ESOP, which will make him a millionaire in the future, how will you ever convince the customers or the VC later, right? It's difficult, and I think the way you do it, literally, I think the provocative term that I've heard from somebody was seduce, right? You bring your charm, personal charm, because you're poor, right? That's all you have. So bring your personal charm and dream up the vision, show how great it is going to be, because of which he should take pay cut, the person should take a pay cut, and instead take a ESOPs, and come and join you. And those are the people who are going to found, these are founding team are the one who's going to form the core of the company. the DNA of the company as the company become bigger. The later people who come to you because of you have fancy office are the same set of people who want to be with you because you're rich. Wrong people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for all of you, please. How do you keep a customer loyal towards your organization? Like the organizations, Flipkart, Snapdeal, Paytm, Zebong and all. They are great organizations providing great services and great products to all the consumers all over India. But the moment they see a 2% more discount on some another site, they immediately go to that site and buy from there. So how do you keep customer loyal towards your organization? Because customer satisfaction and customer loyalty are two different things in India. A great satisfied customer is not loyal to you at all. A 2% discount on a product of 200 rupees will drift your customer from your site to another site. How do you deal with this?
Yeah. Consumer internet mein.
I think that goes into business model and the product itself. So there's a very nice book, 0 to 1. It talks about the hard disk industry.
By Peter Thiel. Yeah.
Peter Thiel. So amazing innovation happened in hard disk industry, but hard disk company went bankrupt because there was no customer loyalty. And the margins just kind of compressed. So all the investment in R&D was never recovered and the company went bankrupt. So the question that you're asking is very, very relevant question. Good entrepreneurs, what they do is they change the product so that it creates a stickiness. So for example, people, see phones are, let's say smartphones are commodity product in a sense that it makes phone calls, receive phone calls, check email, WhatsApp, bunch of other things, right? But Apple, the fans use iPhones and the Android, people use Android, and that happens because of apps. So you actually modify the product in a way that it goes from non-commodity to sticky commodity product, right? So you have to literally change the business model. If you're stuck in a business model, which is commodity business model, you have to go and change the business model so it becomes non-commodity by changing the product itself. And once, if you're successful, you're able to do this. If you're not successful, Adam Smith's, invisible hand is going to come and compress you and you're going to make 3% margins. And then company is going to be either very, very steel mill kind of thing, very, very thin margin company, or, it's not going to be very successful if it is, not handled properly. So the question that you're asking is the fundamental question, right? And because of which the current e-commerce companies where people are switching between Amazon and Flipkart, right? I mean, they're experiencing it now. They did not invest in the customer stickiness to the extent that they thought that they had invested. The Flipkart always believed that the customer service and the brand is so strong that people want to buy from Flipkart again, but that was not the case. So there was more needed to be done. They did not change the product enough.
Do you think all the e-commerce companies are going to survive in India because the market is too huge? Still, do you think all will survive?
I will just speculate. I should not speculate.
I heard Vani Kola in one of the similar kind of summits. She said, "We are hoping that they do." So hope is not a strategy for an organization who invested 2,000, 3,000, almost $1 billion. They are just hoping that they do. Everyone survives. I don't think that's possible in India.
Some of them will survive. Yeah. At least.
I think e-commerce is a great business. It makes a lot of sense for India as an industry. The kind of choices that are available today on the internet is you are not available on physical. I do not know which players are going to survive. I am not an expert, but I think there's going to be a lot of innovation in terms of stickiness.
Yeah, so I'll just add one thing to it, that I think any e-commerce, you're right. So 2% in a product like an Apple or something, you cannot really do much about it. If somebody is discounting it further, it's good that you bought a good deal from the company. But I think what most companies are trying to do to create that stickiness is differentiation. So I see Myntra today, which is getting into licensing fashion. So where they're actually going out and reaching out to Disney to create a special range for them, which is only available at Myntra, or they're coming out with private label of fashion, which is only available at Myntra. Similarly, I know early days of Jabong where they did exclusive tie-ups with a lot of fashion companies from outside India, where this company was only, so Desigual, that was how it entered India. It did an exclusive tie-up with Jabong in early days to, and people could only buy Desigual at Jabong. So I think you also need
but
to...
But Jabong is not doing nicely. They probably got the last funding.
So I'm talking about a strategy over here. So, while of course e-commerce is new and it has anyway been pushed a lot, the burn rate in most companies, and they, I think one of the biggest reasons I have found is because they're still in the early days of building what you call these habit-forming products. You know, they're still trying to put you into a habit of going and buying your fashion or your food or your phones or whatever it is that you're buying online, still getting used to buying online. So till, you know, we're 100%, so we don't have to think that, okay, we want to buy a phone, we go to a mall. So, you know, you'd still think before you buy it online. Most of the community in India does. So, you know, it's still in the habit forming process right now. And the burn rate would always be high as far as that goes.
Thanks so much.
I will add to this that nobody can guarantee the success of any model. Like if you're talking about e-commerce, it depends what kind of e-commerce platform you are using, what kind of payment models you are using. Because nowadays the people are going to be demanding and demanding and demanding, if you see from the customer side. And he want to pay when he is fully satisfied with the product delivered to him. This itself is giving a big challenge to every e-commerce company. So those kind of challenges will keep coming, and you take the example of Alibaba, which is the largest e-commerce thing and largest success in the world. How many times they got shrinked, and again they have boosted their model and they have corrected themselves to go into again with the revamp way. And as you have questioned about the small office, the Alibaba is still have their headquarters in a residential apartment near Shanghai. So why they maintain that? They want to show everyone that fancy office is nothing, a customer is the god, and customer satisfaction is the important. Even they don't bother for the investors. That's the only example in the world, Alibaba, which has given priority to the customers over the investors. And still, investors are there, and that has been shown in their IPO success.
Any last question before we? Okay, we'll just take this one. Yeah, this. Okay, yeah. You can actually do it offline. Then. Yeah.
Actually, my company is focused on the government sector. When the customer comes from the government sector, everything is perfect, product is perfect, but it is very difficult to knock the government department. So I mean, how to run from pillar to post, it's taking lots of time. I mean, they say startup, everything is done perfect, but how to sell the product? It's a great product, everything is perfect. Scientifically, I mean, everything is done.
Okay, sure. What does it make? What is the product you make?
Actually, it's related with the road and transportation sector.
Okay, sure.
And the product is, I mean, it is indigenously developed, focused on the local conditions of India.
Sure.
And the first product, I mean, made in India, hardware as well as software.
Okay.
And it is not easy to sell it.
Okay, easy to sell and also easy to get out the payments from. आपने कभी issues face किए हैं?
Actually, we have met lots of people. They say, wow, that's it, and later.
Be patient is the only thing that I can tell
But
you.
yes, the reality is that.
We had recently acquired a company which had started to work in the B2G segment, business to government. So we are making small machines which recycle community waste. It's a very difficult task. I attended the Startup India conference also. Everything is hunky-dory.
Yeah.
The government is taking action also. It's not that nothing is happening. You know, yesterday there was a circular which has come out that now 20% of the government's procurement can be done from startups. So you don't need to be having a big balance sheet, but you need to have the technical credentials of the work that has been given. So things are happening. But I completely empathize with you. It's running from pillar to post because you don't know who is the actual buyer. So maybe NHAI would be one of the buyers for the road companies, or you might just first try it with the private contractors, if at all it is possible.
We have tried, and
Okay.
actually they say, wow, that's it. And actually, it is an automated product
Sure.
also.
You can take it offline.
We can discuss.
So yeah. So final words, Ritu Maria. If people in the audience really want to start a
Yeah, so
company,
I
anything,
guess
10
starting
seconds.
up is, so I would just sum up by saying that starting up is a great idea, but starting up right is really more important because that's where your customers, your funds, everybody is going to be with you. So start up right.
Okay. Alok.
Do start up, but don't start up because your friends are starting up.
Okay. VK Mishra.
Funding is not a problem for any startup. That much I can assure. More than $300 billion are waiting in China, mutual funds, which are coming to India every day. And we have also started one organization called ICTTC, India-China Technology Transfer Center, from where you can get the help of second round of funding, which we are taking presently.
So funding is not a problem. Idea is, yeah.
I think most of you guys are young. I think if you are trying to do a startup, do something that you inherently and emotionally like. And the reason for that is that there is a very high chance that it will fail, what you're trying to do. So in case 2 years down the line, when you're looking at it, if you really like what you're doing, you'll not have regret. And if it works out, then you're like super happy. So either way, you'll be better.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, lunch is waiting. Please join us. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Simran, for moderating this session in a very, very delicate and nice way. Thank you very much. So we break for lunch. We will assemble again here at exactly at 2 p.m. So kindly be here on the time, please.